This is Tim Trelaw.
This is David J. Howe.
I'm Peter Purvis.
I am Sadie Miller.
This is Lauren Cornelius.
Hi, this is Abby Rago, and I am a cosplayer. You're listening to the Doctor Who Collectors Podcast. Keep collecting.
Larry, it's Fraser. At last I've got back to you. I'm sorry it's taken ages, but I've had the dreaded lurgy. And you use, they all say, who is Doctor Who? Where is he from? What does he do?
They all say, who is Doctor Who? Where is he from? What does he do? They wonder who is Doctor Who? So I ask you, who's Doctor Who?
Welcome back to the Doctor Who Collectors Podcast, the podcast that explores the festive world of Doctor Who collecting, the collectors, all kinds of Doctor Who merchandise, and sometimes we just talk about Doctor Who. It's a great place to do that. Welcome to the show. Brought to you in part by Forbidden Planet and Bags Unlimited Incorporated. I am Larry Van Mersbergen, your host. I've been a Doctor Who collector now for 42 years. Welcome to our 70th episode. We're celebrating 60 years of Doctor Who this year, and just to bring you back to where it all began, I actually started watching the program on September 27th, 1975 in Chicago, and the episode I saw was The Mutants Part 1, and I changed my life, literally, at that young age. I went on to open one of the first Doctor Who stores in Chicago that exclusively served Doctor Who fans. In other words, we took the store to the fan club meetings. It was like a mini convention. It was a brilliant idea. It was before conventions. It was really something else. We called the store Bundles from Britain. And I never thought, once I finished that run, I sold it to my partner. I went to college. I went on to my life, and I never thought about it. Then I picked up a little book, and this wonderful little book is called Red, White, and Who: The Story of Doctor Who in America. And as I was going through the book, I noticed in the index it said Bundles from Britain, and I said, no way. So I found it on page 384, and I was shocked. I said, I didn't know this book was being written. I had no idea that there was a project underway, and I kind of came to the table a little late there. But anyway, I found out some other people had submitted, copies of the catalog and things like that to the writers, and they gave it a mention. And I introduced myself to the authors not long after that to say, I'm the guy that founded Bundles from Britain. And of course, the partner I sold it to was none other than Gene Smith. And if you're a Doctor Who guy, you know who Gene is. Gene is the showrunner of Chicago TARDIS. He is the CEO of Alien Entertainment. So he kept it going, just changed the name of the company over the years. And but that's where it all started. And that was an honorable moment for me to find out that I was on the ground floor of something even bigger than what it could have been. And that's just, it still humbles me to this day, not going to my head at all, because I think, wow, what an experience. Anyway, you can find a great link on my homepage at DoctorWhoCollectors.com to buy this book. You can buy it either from Amazon or directly from ATB Publishing. I don't know if it's going to get a second printing. There hasn't been a lot of indication, but if you keep buying it, maybe that'll inspire Mr. Bloomberg to run a few more. So let's have it. I don't make any money on it, by the way. It's not my goal here for that. I want everybody to have a copy of this wonderful book. If you want to know everything about, like I said, I did an episode on the on those Aeonian books, and that's a whole chapter in this wonderful book on Red, White, and Who, where the Doctor Who was broadcast, where it was shown in the United States, where it started. Just some great information there. We are part of the Direction Point Doctor Who Podcast Network. It is a great network of Doctor Who podcasts that seek to build your audience. So that's why we have trailers of other podcasts being played on our sister podcasts, and you can hear the trailer for this one on other podcasts. We want you to listen to other people and get that knowledge. There's so many people out there podcasting, and there's so much great stuff. So you can listen to time streams. Nathan and Juliet are just simply amazing. Their chemistry on the air is one of a kind, and they're wonderful people. And you got Police Box in a Junkyard. That's Matthew Kressel, Assad, and Eric O'Branson. What a great trio there. The Doctor Who Target Book Club with my good friend Tony Witt, and of course my other good friends Alison Fitch-Seyfried and Dalton Hughes, and amongst other guests that they bring on the program. I've been on that podcast a few times myself. So you can also find Traveling the Vortex, which is I think the number 4 podcast in the Doctor Who world. So, Glenn and the guys there, they have a great show going. Almost 800 episodes are coming up on it. So for more information, you can go to directionpoint.org. Speaking of links, of course, 2 great links that I include on every episode because you can start anywhere. You need to have timelash.com on your bookmarks if you're a collector, and the subheading under that is the TARDIS Library. And that you could set up a free account. You could keep track of your collectibles, at least your media collectibles. I'm talking about your vinyl records, your books, your not magazines per se, but so just the printed material, the recorded material, CDs, vinyl, VHS tapes, Betamax, that kind of thing. It's a really good resource, and he's pretty thorough. That's Mr. Dan O'Malley out of the UK. And, of course, the other website you need to have on hand, of course, is Howe's Transcendental Toy Box, or where we call it at doctorwhotoybox.co.uk. So there you go. Timelash.com gets you to the TARDIS Library, and doctorwhotoybox.co.uk. And, of course, by Howe, we mean David J. Howe, a great guy, great friend, wonderful man. He has the Doctor Who Museum that is just now opening. The Bundles from Britain catalog is in the museum. That is a hand-drawn catalog by the late Bill Eubanks. He was a dear friend of mine many years ago, was an artist, and he was an actor. And one day I want to dedicate a show to him as much as I can. His artwork is almost long gone unless you have copies of Time Lord Review floating around. There you go. If you're looking for great Doctor Who items at great prices, then you need to go no further than just type in your browser DoctorWhoStore.com. That's the name. And that's the Doctor Who online store for Alien Entertainment. And it's just a wonderful place to get your books, your magazines, your figures. They've even got some hardcovers on there that I talk about on some of the episodes. So they're always running specials. You can get bargain things. They got closeouts. Of course, if you live in the Chicago area, the western suburbs, go to the shop, Alien Entertainment in Lombard on Main Street. You can't miss it. It's a double storefront. You'll see the big Doctor Who logo in the window. Usually Karen is there most days, but you can find Jean there on the weekends. And you can browse their incredible selection of not just Doctor Who, but they've got Harry Potter and Star Trek and all kinds of. I mean, there was a Yellow Submarine lunchbox from '68 in the bin there. There was a Mickey Mouse clock. He's got all kinds of stuff. So there you go. You could also find some great stuff right here at our own website at DoctorWhoCollectors.com on the merchandise links. We are, of course, connected to Forbidden Planet, one of our sponsors. Just look through what you want to buy, click through, pay for it on Forbidden Planet. As long as you click through our website, we get a little bit of that money that you pay for the item. You don't pay more. You just help us out at the same time. So thank you for that. And don't forget, we have an eBay store as well. That's the first link on that page. And we've got Target books, lots of Target books, some hardcovers, and a few other vinyl records and things that were duplicates in the collection. I don't like to keep a lot of duplicates these days, but you can actually benefit. And I try to keep the prices reasonable. I take reasonable offers. Don't lowball me and say it's reasonable. I had somebody do that to me the other day. It was a brand new copy of the Caves of Androzani in hardcover, and they really like more than half off of what I was looking for. And I wasn't looking for something great. It's not an outrageous offer or anything, but I said, I'm really sorry. I wrote back and I said, this is a new book, so you need to really think about this. I never heard back, but that's okay. It will sell. I'm not worried. All proceeds, of course, for that benefit the podcast. And don't forget, of course, Who North America. And you got, Keith and Jenny, amazing people. I'll be seeing them shortly. We'll be talking about them later on the show. They opened the same year as Bundles from Britain, 1984. You can find them at www.whona.com. That's WHONA.com. And of course, I last but not least, and certainly not to be left off this list, are my friends at the Who Shop in London. I had to make a call over there. Dialing an international number, that is a skill. I had to look it up online how to do it. But the phone rang and they answered, and I said, "Hi, this is Larry Van Mersbergen from the United States." And the first response back was, "We love your podcast." So that made my day, made my month, and my year all at once. But I was calling about an order that had gotten accidentally bounced back to them. That's a long way to bounce back from here, just outside Chicago, back to the UK. So we got that straightened out. So you can find them there at thewhoshop.com altogether, thewhoshop.com. Of course, on our website, in addition to every podcast that's been recorded. Now, Apple cuts them off after a while, and Google Podcast is going away, I just found out. But if you're on other providers, they might not go back to episode 1 or 2 or 3. But you can always go back on our website at DoctorWhoCollectors.com to every podcast that was recorded. Coming up, we've got Chicago TARDIS 2023 in November. That's Thanksgiving weekend. Join us for the 60th anniversary, which will prove to be one of the best conventions in the Midwest. For more information on that, you can go directly to chicagotardis.com or find them on any of the social medias, including Threads now. But so far, we've got guests, the big names, of course. We got Jason Haig-Ellery, the CEO of Big Finish. I'm planning to have him sign my Sirens of Time cassette that I keep talking to him about every year. Of course, with your ticket, you always get Fraser Hines. What a great guy. Good friend. I consider him a friend anyway. He's just such a wonderful man. Helped me out quite a bit in the last year. And of course, he sings the theme song to this podcast. You can meet Michael Troughton. He's the son of Patrick Troughton. I've seen him in numerous dramas. And of course, he currently plays the Second Doctor. And who better to play the Second Doctor for Big Finish? We have 3 doctors, count them 3. We've got Peter Davison, Colin Baker, and Sylvester McCoy coming to Chicago TARDIS this year, 3 doctors. We've got Stacy Smith, a great author, wonderful woman. Mickey Lewis will be there. He's been a Cyberman. He's been a Sea Devil. He was on the Sea Devil episode with Jodie Whittaker. We've got Lisa Bowerman. I am so excited to meet Lisa Bowerman. I have been in love with Bernie Summerfield for many, many years, and I can't wait to meet her. And of course, Carol Ann Ford, the first companion, will be there, and I am so honored to meet her this year. So hotel reservations are still there. You can still get it. Tickets are available at chicagotardis.com. Photograph and autograph stuff will be starting probably this week. As of this recording, October 1st, they should be ready to go. So as a member myself, I should be getting notices on that. They're also calling for panels right now. So if you want to propose a panel at Chicago TARDIS that's 60th anniversary related, go to chicagotardis.com, click on updates, and click on that panel thing. Of course, you have to be a member of the conference to present a panel, but panels do get approved. I mean, I know the program director personally. They do get in there. All right, cool. What else is going on? I am still working with Oricon. They're going to get a video edition of my 60 Items for 60 Years panel this year because I can't travel all the way to Oregon with all that stuff. It just doesn't work. Not easy to do, and that's also happening in November, so I'll let you know when that's happening. So far, the Twin Cities Console Room, and I have been back and forth over a while about doing this at their show. Of course, now they've no longer gotten back to me. So if you're on that staff and you're listening, please shoot me an email and let me know what's happening. And also, I have been put on hold with the C2E2 conference because they were very interested in what I was doing, but their panels were full as of the last time I talked to them. So stay tuned for that. All right, what's new to the collection? New in the collection. Now, this is not a complete list because I haven't been able to keep track lately. It's been kind of I've been putting everything in boxes for the next event, which I will talk about on the main story today, which is Doctoberfest. So I've got a hardcover copy of Doctor Who A to Z. That was from 1986 or 87 from W.H. Allen. Matches the paperback. I got a really nice copy of the Ghostlight soundtrack. That was a different label entirely. I have a 1972 Jigsaw Puzzle, the #1 edition with John Pertwee and Bessie. It's only missing one piece, but the box is in really good condition. So there was more on the way, but that's all for now. Of course, if you want to see everything up close, come on down to Doctoberfest. That's in Plainfield, Indiana, at the Courtyard by Marriott. We're going to talk about that conference with our main story today. So more on that there. Many rumors out there, and I talk about rumors regarding hardcover books by W.H. Allen and Wingate and Longbow. There are over 100 of those out there, but there have been rumors about third printings of certain books that, we've never seen, nobody's seen evidence of, and we want to investigate those. We want to make sure that they're correct. We want to make sure our list is correct. We want to make sure collectors are informed. But I'm always on the lookout for concrete proof. So if you're a collector and you're sitting on, let's say, a third printing of Space War, let us know. I mean, we don't want your book. We want the copy, a photo of the inside page and the label, the jacket spine, because we want to see what's on there. Is it Wingate? Is it W.H. Allen? Because the information is just not available. W.H. Allen doesn't exist anymore. So, and Virgin Books didn't have a whole lot of information either. So there might be something out there, but so far we've got no evidence to prove that. Only 1/3 edition came to light, but now we're trying to figure out if there was a second edition. Loch Ness Monster, people have seen the first, they've seen the third, but nobody's seen a second. Maybe that was a publisher error. We'll find out. Anyway, you can contact me at drwhocollectorspodcast@gmail.com and put that in the subject line. So, on today's show, I'll be talking about the upcoming festival, which is Doctoberfest, coming up on October 21st. 22nd, 23rd, I guess that we've got a dinner on the Friday night. We've got the festival all day on Saturday and a brunch with Sophie on Sunday. Unfortunately, by the taping here, the dinner and brunch tickets will be sold out. You only need a ticket for the panels. You do not need a ticket to attend the festival. But seating is limited, so get on there right away. It's at whona.com. We'll talk more about that in just a few minutes. By the way, if you ever wondered where my podcast ranks in the world of Doctor Who podcasts, FeedSpot at feedspot.com has a ranking of the top 90 Doctor Who podcasts, and as of this taping, we are at number 31 of the top 90. So I am pleased to be in the upper third. We've moved up a few spots in the last few months, so thank you for your support. I also want to thank our patrons. We have a Patreon page. That's at patreon.com/Doctor Who Collectors Podcast, all together. And if you hit us up at the $15 level or more, that's $15 per month, but you can cancel anytime, or you can subscribe, watch the videos, and quit, whatever you want to do. That just helps us keep the bills paid. Anyway, go up there to find exclusive video content. If you want to see the video interview with Tasha Achilleos, or with Peter Purvis, or with Sadie Miller, for instance, or Lauren Cornelius, or the video we're going to do today, you can see that up there too. We've got some props that are on display that are pretty cool. Our theme song is Who's Doctor Who, composed by Barry Mason and Les Reed, performed by Fraser Hines, used by permission. You can hear this podcast anywhere you get your podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, Pandora, on iHeartRadio, and Podbean. You can also find us wherever you get your podcast, including our YouTube channel. We are a Direction Point podcast network. After the break, we will have our main story. And today we're talking about Doctoberfest, and I've got my guest here, Elwee This Pagan, is my guest. He's been on the show before as part of the Collectors Roundtable series that we did, but he's talking to me exclusively today about the show and about what he's doing there and what he's bringing. And he's probably the largest collector of Kerblam items from the story Kerblam. So I'm really impressed with that, because I don't have a lot of 13th Doctor stuff, but that's pretty cool. So we'll have that right after the break here. And, of course, the most outrageous offer, which may or may not be a most outrageous offer. We'll let you decide that. So anyway, stay tuned.
Hi, I'm Juliet.
And I'm Nathan.
Experience Doctor Who from the very beginning through a classic fan's eyes.
And through the eyes of a new Who fan.
Reminisce and relive those classic moments with Nathan as he offers fun insight.
Or experience them for the first time with Juliet as she dwells on social issues, history, fashion, and the size of a flashlight.
We're the Time Streams podcast.
Find us on Spotify, Stitcher, or Apple Podcasts. You're listening to the Doctor Who Collectors Podcast. Keep collecting.
Traveling the Vortex. Are you ready to embark on an epic journey through time and space? Join the thousands of Whovians around the world who've discovered Traveling the Vortex, the ultimate Doctor Who podcast for die-hard fans and curious newcomers alike.
Every week, we dive deep into the Whoniverse, discussing the episodes, theories, and hidden gems. We dissect the Doctor's adventures, share behind-the-scenes stories, and explore the legacy of this iconic show.
Traveling the Vortex brings fans together, fostering a global community of Whovians. Whether you're a fan of classic or new Who, there's something for everyone.
Join us on this incredible journey as we unravel the mysteries of time and space.
Don't miss out. Subscribe to Traveling the Vortex today on your favorite podcast platform.
Traveling the Vortex. Your ticket to adventure awaits.
Traveling the Vortex is a proud member of the Direction Point Podcast Network. You're listening to the Doctor Who Collectors Podcast. Keep collecting.
We are going on a journey, a very long journey, through the world of the Target novelizations in publication order. Every week, we are looking at a new book, talking about Terrence Dicks, Malcolm Hulke, and all our Doctor Who novelization friends. Whatever you do, keep turning the pages. This is Jason Miller of the Doctor Who Literature Podcast, a member of the Direction Point Podcast Network, and you are listening to the Doctor Who Collectors Podcast. Keep collecting.
Up there is the scanner, those are the doors, that is a chair with a panda on it. Sheer poetry, dear boy.
We wish you a Merry Christmas, we wish you a Merry Christmas, we wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. So we wish you a Merry Christmas, everybody, to those who are listening. And we had a great year for the Doctor Who Collectors Podcast. The 2023 year was a wonderful year. We started off with a big bang with a big guest, and we ended with a big guest. So I think we did quite well. But I want to thank our guests for 2023. So here's, if this is your first one, you need to go back and listen to some of these. So we started off in the year with talking with the great Peter Purves, who played Stephen Taylor in 44 episodes of Doctor Who, and of course Big Finish and many more. But he is just he traveled with the first Doctor, and it was a joy to talk to him. I also want to thank Tony Witt. Tony, of course, is the host of the Doctor Who Target Book Club podcast, and we bring him on when we do our hardcover specials. So we're hoping to have him back on when we continue that journey. We've only got 4 more years to go in that series. So there you go. We had author John Walsh, who did a wonderful book on Doctor Who and the Daleks, the films, through Studio Canal. And of course, I think he had a follow-up book on The Wicker Man, if that's a movie you're into. We had the wonderful Tim Treloar, who voices the third Doctor for Big Finish. He was a very nice man. I love talking to him. I just got a Christmas message from him. Wonderful guy. Of course, we can't have a great year without Katie Haynes. Katie, of course, was on the podcast a couple times. You know, we had her at Oktoberfest, at Chicago TARDIS. Just a wonderful, uplifting, spirited soul who really brings people up, and I really appreciate her. We had Tasha Achilleos on the program after, of course, I remember that because it took an hour to troubleshoot our Zoom call, and finally we got it going, and we had a wonderful conversation about her late husband Chris, and who is a dear friend and was actually supposed to be on our podcast a few years back, but passed away. We had the wonderful and talented Abby Rago on the program. She is a cosplayer of tremendous talent, and along with her husband Ace. They were at Chicago TARDIS as well. It was great to get a picture with her and to talk to her. And of course, Elwee Pagan. We talked about Doctoberfest, and we had a wonderful time at Doctoberfest and Chicago TARDIS. Great guy. And of course, just somebody that really, really has a passion for Doctor Who. We finished the year, of course, my main stage debut at Chicago TARDIS, where I interviewed Katie Manning, one of my dear friends. And, of course, we had the recording made for the podcast. So we finished our last podcast with Katie Manning on the show. So what a great year in podcasting. I also made an appearance on the Police Box and the Junkyard podcast when they talked about the 77 Doctor Who annual. That was a lot of fun. My in-person appearances this year included Consinity 23 and Oktoberfest Collision with the great Sophie Aldred. I'll never forget walking through my collection display with Sophie and just having her giving me her feedback. And it was just a lot of fun to have time with her. That was just great. And of course, Chicago TARDIS, where I interacted with many people, including Mr. Peter Davison, Mr. Colin Baker, Sylvester McCoy. I shared some wonderful stories about meeting Patrick Troughton with his son Michael Troughton, and just a wonderful time. John Davey and Mickey Lewis were there. That was a lot of fun as well as Janet Fielding. She was wonderful. Mark Strickson actually remembered me from 1984, which is incredible because I was a lot younger in 1984. I was 15 years old. So, I mean, the fact that he remembered me was really quite something. And, of course, meeting Rachel Talalay, who directed The Star Beast, and getting to watch The Star Beast at the convention on a big screen, which premiered just before it aired, with the director in the house, was really something else. That was an experience that I think will not be topped for many years to come. There you go. And I've got more to come. Consinity 24 coming up next year. It's the next one up. That'll be the last show, I believe, for the 60 Items for 60 Years. Like I said, I'm still pending on Twin Cities, so we'll see. I added some things to the collection since the previous episode, so here's what came in. A new copy, a new condition copy of The Hand of Fear in hardcover. That's a W.H. Allen release. Might be a Wingate release. I'm trying to remember, but right off the bat, with the dust jacket, beautiful shape. I got the Eagle Moss Dalek Parliament Set 2. You might remember this from the Most Outrageous Offers I did, the Dave Gibbons collection in hardcover. I think it was like a $999 thing. I paid cover price, which was $50, so not too bad. I've got a Dalek Sec talking helmet in the box, a copy of Doctor Who The Unfolding Text. It was to replace the copy I lost many years ago. A few copies of Fantasy Empire that I needed to replace, a copy of Silver Nemesis in Blue Spine. That one's becoming very difficult to find. Thanks to my good friend Tony Witt, I completed my New Adventure book, so I have a complete run of the New Adventures. I found an Eye Break for Daleks bumper sticker from Spirit of Light, completely intact. I have a Goodies candy box from 1980 in the UK. No chocolates included, thankfully. And more to come. So now I'm looking forward to 2024. So here's who I've got lined up already for 2024. We're going to come off right after the holidays. I'm going to have a conversation with Lisa Bowerman. Now, if you don't know that name, you have never listened to Big Finish, because she plays Bernice Summerfield, who is one of my favorite characters. I got to meet her at Chicago TARDIS, and I gave her my card, and she said that she was a collector. So I'm looking forward to having that conversation as well, to find out what she has in her collection. She famously revived a show called Casualty by being killed on an episode, and I guess that was, they were gonna reduce her to part-time, so she said, no, kill me off. So there was some good stories to be had from her. We're bringing back on the show Tasha Achilleos once again. More to talk about with the new shop opening up and getting things rolling, and as well as talking with Anna Achilleos, the daughter of Chris Achilleos. And sometime in late February, we've got Lauren Cornelius coming back. She's got a lot to update us on, especially Big Finish-wise, and her TV career is starting to take off. So it's great to have her back on that. We're also going to be talking with Ken Deep. He's the showrunner of Long Island Who. and we'll get an update on that from him. We also sent an invitation to Stephen Warren Hill, who is the chief author of Red, White, and Who, the story of Doctor Who in America, and the showrunner, programming director of Chicago TARDIS. So we'll see how that goes. So that's what's happening there. And that will do that. So after the next break, I will have the most outrageous offer.
Hi, I'm Rupert Booth.
I am known as Paul Ferry.
And my name is Barry Williams. Together, we host Time Ram.
Time Ram's a cruel mistress.
It's a random number generator.
That also.
We roll a number from 1 to 13, and that's our doctor. Then 1 to 300 for the story, and then we ram them together. Even if it doesn't make sense.
Cruel, I tell you.
Time Ram, putting the wrong doctors in the wrong stories, so you don't have to. You're listening to
The Doctor Who Collectors Podcast.
Hello, fellow time travelers, and welcome to the Doctor Who Target Book Club podcast, the only podcast to discuss, in story order, all the Doctor Who novelizations. My name is Tony Whitt, and every 2 weeks or so, I'm joined by a 2 to 3 person discussion panel, including our so-called expert who's been a Who fan since 1979. That would be me. We also get the views of intermediate, casual, and novice fans who either have never seen the show or who have never read these books until these podcasts, including
Dalton Hughes
and
Alison Fitz-Seyfried.
You can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you find good podcasts, or even ones like ours. You're listening to the Doctor Who Collectors Podcast on the Direction Point Podcast Network. Keep collecting.
You are invited on an adventure across all of time and space, in a completely random order. It's the Police Box in the Junkyard podcast. Jump in the TARDIS with your hosts,
Eric Gulbranson,
Asad Kheshki,
and Matthew Kressel.
Explore Doctor Who TV stories, audio adventures, and books, both novels and non-fiction. The Police Box in the Junkyard podcast. It's the entire Whoniverse on shuffle. The Police Box in the Junkyard podcast is a member of the Direction Point Network and is available about once a month wherever you find your podcasts. You are listening to the Doctor Who Collectors Podcast. Keep collecting.
The Vervoids are probably the best dirty joke in Doctor Who.
They're hermaphroditic plants.
A lot of plants are.
So there you go. It's based on science.
No, they'll ship anything.
There are probably 11 and handle shippers out there. You just have to drill a hole where his mouth is, and you're all set.
You know he needs the room. I've seen it in pictures.
I'm not saying you're not a fan. I'm saying you don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Doctor Who gives a drunken Doctor Who podcast for the end times.
All my travellings throughout the universe, I have battled against evil, against power-mad conspirators. I should have stayed here. The oldest civilization. Decadent, degenerate, and rotten to the core. Power-mad conspirators, Daleks, Sontarans, Cybermen. They're still in the nursery compared to us. 10 million years of absolute power. That's what it takes to be really corrupt.
And now it's time for the most outrageous offer. The most outrageous offer is a Doctor Who item or related item that seems a bit too highly priced for its own good. Possibly by a price gouger or somebody who has no idea what they're doing. So here we go. We have an item here. It's a book. It's in Spanish. I'm going to do my best here to pronounce this. Doctor Who, El Loco de la Cabina, la Nueva Era de la Maquina, which translates to Doctor Who, the Madman in the Cabin, the New Machine Age. And that's a copy that was basically sold in Spanish language. And they have a copy here. It's published by Dolman in 2014. Has a cover. You'll see the picture on our website, but has Matt Smith and David Tennant and Peter Capaldi on the front. So we've got a seller here, Libros del Mundo in Ventura, Florida. They only have a 4-star rating on Abe Books, but they're offering the price on this book is $35,595. That's quite a lot of money with $11 shipping. So there you go. After much more looking around, I found a copy that you can buy from Spain for $21.52 with $20 shipping, so still a lot cheaper. There's another copy I found that was sold in Hollywood, California for $32.64 with $11 shipping. Found another one in, it looks like Hollywood, Florida for $41.88. So clearly you can get a copy of this book for a lot less. And it is kind of cool. I think I may even add one of these to my collection, but not for $35,000. Come on, people. That has to be a mistake. It has to be a mistake. There's no way they're going to get that kind of money. And that's what's really quite amazing to me, that there's somebody out there who's trying to get money like that. It's just not going to happen. And that's been kind of the whole reflecting back on the year of most outrageous offers. I do get messages and emails about stuff that's out there, copies of Lung Barrow for $600 that'll never sell. Recently I looked into Target book lots. There was a guy who had 61 Target books. He wanted $500 for it. And I looked at the titles and not a single rare title. All common titles. And I said, you're not going to get it. You're asking like $9 a book, and that's worth about $2. But they don't understand. They think, well, it's Doctor Who. It's got to be worth money. So, listen to the experts out there. I've people that contact me specifically to say, what is this worth? And I'm like, well, give me some more information about it. I can I'm not the expert. I'm not the definitive expert on grading. I mean, Gene Smith actually is one of the top guys, although he says his eyesight's starting to not get so good. So, with looking at fine grades and stuff. But you really need to get it to somebody who knows what they're talking about before you put a price on something, or especially if you're not going to accept a reasonable offer either. So there you go. And if you'd like help in selling your Doctor Who collection, just shoot me an email at drwhocollectorspodcast@gmail.com. I'll see what I can do. All right. Well, that wraps up the Doctor Who Collectors Podcast for 2023. And again, what a great year it's been. So coming up, we'll be back after the new year with some great stories, some great shows. I've already listed a few guests that we've got lined up for the new year, and some more topics that we will explore together. So we're hoping to bring back classic hardcovers of '84 once the Target Book Club podcast catches up and has a rating for us. And of course, we'll keep our eyes out for whatever happens. In the meantime, have a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year, and keep collecting.
Where was that place?
Oh, no idea. I'm glad we got away.
What were they doing?
Your guess is as good as mine. Let's hope we never land there again. Here we are. What's this? Well, we so rarely get a chance to celebrate, but this time we must.
Celebrate?
Yes. It's Christmas. Don't you remember the police station, Christmas? So it was, yes. Here's a toast. A happy Christmas to all of us. Same to you, Doctor. Sir? Incidentally, a happy Christmas to all of you at home.
Direction point! Direction point!
A Doctor Who Podcast Network.